somehow, somewhere in your conditioning, you get a script. And the script says something like, you're ugly, or you're good for nothing, or you'll never find love, or you're the victim, they mistreated you, or life, In the case of my dad, which again was one of the reasons that triggered me to write Unstressable, my dad was an incredibly successful engineer. Truly built the majority of the road and bridge and tunnel network of Egypt when he was responsible. And then at the end of his career, the CEO changed, and so they gave him another responsibility and took that department and gave it to someone else. So he sat in his living room in the dark for 3 years with one obsession, which is they never valued me. And I attempted so hard at the time, I was in my early 20s, to say, what are you talking about? You're like one of the most distinguished engineers in the country, right? How can you say they never valued me? And he obsessed about that thought until I held him in my arms when he had a heart attack and left us, right? And obsessions are generated from within you, right? And they have the impact of trauma prolonged, right? Then there are what we call noise, which are the small things. You're walking out of the apartment and you look at yourself and you say, what's that belly? Or my hair is frizzy, or whatever, right? Little ones. And we're very generous with those. You can give yourself 27 of those every hour of the day, right? And then there is noise. Noise are stressors that are sub-trauma. They're not that big, but there are so many of them. From the alarm that jolts you out of bed in the morning, to the Instagram comment that annoys you, to the commute, to, who stays here, Mike? Like, this commute must kill you, man, right?
Yeah.
And
I just don't leave the house anymore.
Exactly, right? It's like when you add them all up, you start to suddenly end up in a place where they break you, right? So within those, I tell people explicitly, sit down and write a list of everything that stressed you last week, okay? And then look at every one of them from the burnout equation point of view and say, okay, my commute is stressing me. Can I eliminate it, okay, by moving to another place? Can I make it easier by maybe moving at a different time? Okay, can I make it less by maybe working from home 3 times a week? Or can I make it more enjoyable by taking a good cup of coffee with me and listening to a great podcast like yours, right? And believe it or not, just by sitting down with that list and eliminating all of those stressors, right? You get that stressor that tells you, my wonderful daughter, her hair is beautiful. She's Mediterranean. We have a bit of African origin, from Egypt. And so her hair is beautifully curly, right? As a young woman, she, in her teens, she would panic when her hair is curly. And then she went to study in Canada. And of course, that hair in Canada is like exotic, right? And suddenly she realizes that, hey, by the way, that thought I was torturing myself with is actually not true at all. And can you find all of those thoughts? Can you actually list down all of the little things that you tell yourself that stress you, and sit with a good friend and say, is that true, by the way? I used to tell Aya, your hair is beautiful, don't panic. We used to sing it every morning when she's going to school. Your hair is beautiful, your hair is beautiful, your hair is beautiful, don't panic, right? And believe it or not, until now, she remembers that the brain plays on you. Can you look at your obsessions? And tell yourself openly, I'm never going to find love. Is that true? Where did you come up with that? And by the way, if it's true, can you accept it and work with it? Right? It's not true, by the way. And so on. So there is a lot of this stress that we feel in our life that's within our control. Of course, the book is not that simple, because fitness is not that simple. You have to show up, you have to do your, multiple muscles, you have to do them right, and so on and so forth, right? It's not that simple, but at the very top level, it's a choice. It's not the events of your life that stress you, it's the way you deal with them that does.
Yeah.